I did not have any good sleep last night because of all of the controversy that was happening at DC. Guys, before I start this video, I just want to say that DC is like having an abusive father. A father which can't just get his shit right. I'm so tired of this, guys. I am honestly very tired of this because I am a DC fan. Ever since I was young, I loved these characters. And all that I want is a good movie. So Netflix literally just destroyed everything. By purchasing Warner Brothers, they destroyed everything. Warner Brothers is now frozen. They're not going to do anything drastic in the next at least 2 years. It's going to take at least a year for them to go through everything, go through all the contracts, establish everything. So we're going to have James Gunn for at least 2 years. At least, if he's not fired, if he doesn't do something crazy within a year. I mean, he's allowed to flop. But I was watching Grace Randolph yesterday, and she said that she doesn't think that, first of all, the Snyderverse is coming back, which I agree with her. And she also said that at Netflix, apparently, they don't really have any heads. So it's one boss, and then everyone reports to them. So I do not know if they're going to renew James Gunn's contract. Hopefully, I hope that he can be pushed out in some way. That is the only thing that I wish for DC right now. I don't care if Snyder comes back. I don't. The only thing that I want for DC right now is a clean slate. I'm okay with bringing in somebody new that is competent. But we're doing this again. We're doing Gunn again. That...
Netflix has bought Warner Brothers and also, HBO Max and DC. So what's the latest? Is James Gunn going to stay? Is he going to go? Is he safe? Are they going to bring back the Snyderverse? Because that is what a lot of people have been hoping. That's what a lot of YouTubers have been saying. Not me. I came out and said Netflix are incredibly unlikely to want Zack Snyder in charge of DC. And the reason why, it's just kind of like it's just an educated guess. It was a logical conclusion. Netflix has been cancelling a lot of Zack Snyder's projects. A lot of them, actually. They've not been continuing with his work. They gave him a chance, right? They gave him a first look deal. Gave him a lot of money. But they've not chosen to pursue the projects that they've been released, into their completion, that's their prerogative. They've obviously crunched the numbers. FYI, I don't know how.
And I have to say this as well. Snyder, why are you investing in female lead characters? Like these movies that you're creating, I like Soccer Punch, but get at least a male character which people can rally behind. Why are we following a unfamiliar person? We've never seen this girl before. You're risking everything. You're risking the Snyderverse on a woman which we have never seen before. And that is the girl which is going to lead your movies. I love you, Snyder. I really, really do. But you have to be realistic sometimes. Get Michael Cera. Get him to be the lead. It's like sometimes you do these very smart things. I have to give it to you. Your casting sometimes is perfect. But in the Rebel Moon franchise, you got an unfamiliar person. If you want to have a female character, have her as the assistant. But have a male lead. Or do what you did in Wonder Woman.
FYI, I don't know how Netflix crunches numbers, because they cancel a lot of popular stuff. I'm not saying he's unpopular. I don't know. But it didn't look like they were going to continue. It didn't look like it would be likely that they would continue with him into the future if they've been cancelling his projects. Well, it looks like James Gunn might remain. That's what we're hearing anyway. looks like James Gunn will remain in charge of DC Studios. Now, we did know that, because I did a video, that if Paramount had bought Warner Brothers, Paramount were looking very, very likely just to bin him off. Right? And we know that because there was a producer meeting with Zack to discuss quite literally greenlighting a DC movie if they were to buy it. Now, that was circumventing James Gunn. So we know that Paramount were on that train. They were on the firing train. But Netflix looks like they're going to keep James Gunn. At least for the time being. At least for the time being. So let's take a look. I myself have not heard anything about this yet from any insider. I don't. I'm just relaying information. So let's take a look. Hit subscribe before we do. If I could just ask you kindly, if you're a returning viewer that isn't subscribed, for instance, consider it. You keep coming back and stuff, so hit subscribe. That'd be really good. And for anyone that enjoys what I do and wants to help me keep doing it, I do have a Patreon. I will leave it linked down below or in a pinned comment. Please do go and support my work here. So as this article notes, the news broke yesterday that Netflix is moving forward with an attempted acquisition of Warner Brothers. And it is attempted because there's sort of antitrust laws and a lot of stuff that needs to get around. A hell of a lot of stuff that Netflix is going to need to get around. They seem really confident with it. I will say I don't know how. And the reason is because they are the market for streaming, basically. So if they then consume HBO and HBO Max, it's difficult to argue how they wouldn't then become a monopoly. But they seem confident, and they've obviously, they're confident enough to have even pursued the acquisition to its completion. So who knows? Who knows? But Warner Brothers Discovery stands to gain either way, because if the deal doesn't go through for any reason, Netflix will have to pay the company over $5 billion. So they're going to be quids in regardless. Should the streaming service successfully acquire Warner Brothers, it will add Warner Brothers Pictures, HBO, HBO Max, DC Comics, DC Studios, and more to its portfolio. So over the past 24 hours, fans have been, questioning online what's the potential ramifications for James Gunn and Peter Safran. So it's already been confirmed that DC Studios co-CEOs are under contract until 2027. And we don't know whether they're going to re-up that deal. No one knows. And this is one of the other things, is that it looked like it would be easy for Paramount to phase them out, because by the time this deal is done, gone through all the legal ringers, and say if Paramount had bought them, they can just phase out their contracts. And same as Netflix, when this is all said and done, 2027, they could bin them off if they want to, but that's not looking like the case. It's not looking likely. So John Campier has shared an update claiming to have heard that Netflix intends to keep Gunn, Michael DeLuca, and Pamela Abdi in their current roles within DC Studios and Warner Brothers Pictures. He's under the assumption that Safran will remain, but hasn't been able to confirm that. Peter Safran's a bit of a black sheep in this, because he isn't. It doesn't seem to be heavily involved. Everyone else seems much more involved than he does. Honestly, we don't really know. We know what his role is stated to be. We've not really seen him in that role. And there were some rumours and rumblings that
Netflix just literally froze Warner Brothers. That's what happened. And that's why James Gunn is going to remain. Yes, they might not renew with him. But honestly, if James Gunn knocks Man of Tomorrow out of the park, then he's going to stay. He is. Because Netflix right now, they need directors. So this Man of Tomorrow movie is going to be his last shot. His last chance. He needs to knock this one out of the park. And what I think, if I'm just being 100% honest, I think that he is. Because that goofy shit is James Gunn's strength. He is going to knock this one out of the park. We're not going to get a Superman movie. We're going to get Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And you know how much people love those dumb movies. Guardians of the Galaxy, Scooby-Doo.
we've not really seen him in that role. And there were some rumours and rumblings that he was phasing himself out And it would basically just be James Gunn in future. So who knows? But John Campea seems to think that James Gunn is safe. His role is perfectly safe. Now again, it's not to say that in future, in 2027, for instance, that his deal will be... He might even want to continue his deal, right? James Gunn might not want to continue his deal. Netflix might want to bin them off as well. We don't know what the long-term statement is for all of this. But it seems like Netflix wants to keep them on. They obviously find it successful enough to keep it going. Again, you guys can argue down below whether that's good or bad, but it doesn't look like Netflix is gonna what's the phrase, restore the Snyderverse or whatever it is. It doesn't look like that's gonna happen at all. As this article notes, it seems a little premature to assume or even report that anyone will stick around, because we won't know what Netflix really has planned for Warner Brothers until the deal is signed, sealed, and delivered. That is true. However, if DC Studios continues finding success in the coming years, there's really no reason for Netflix to ditch Gunn and Safran. Unless they want to ditch Netflix.
Honestly, guys, I don't even know. It's hard to be a DC fan today. It is really, really hard. Because your dad just keeps on drinking. All we want is a safe space. We just want a room. Okay, that's all we want. We want to come home after school and do our homework. But we can't because our dad keeps on effing up. He can't even get a job. And then you look at other parents, you look at other kids, how they have it, and you're just like, why not me? That's how I feel right now. Why not me? Why can't I have a stable family, a stable relationship with my father? Why does my father keep on constantly just drinking and just effing this shit up? It's literally like cooking broccoli. It's not that hard. You can't burn broccoli. That's impossible because you put it in water. That's all you do. How do we keep on effing this up? How? And you hear these James Gunn fans and you're like, these guys are so stupid. They're man babies. But the man babies right now, I don't know if they have some kind of witchcraft or they went to do voodoo in Nigeria. I have no idea what they have done to DC, but DC has so much misfortune. I have no idea why. Every single year, being a DC fan is like being an Arsenal fan. You get that one season in 10 years. Which is magnificent. And then you get your hopes up. And then you're like, just like when Thierry Henry was playing for Arsenal. And then it just continues piling on. It just continues. Like everything is going wrong. Messi comes in and people are just literally just destroying this whole thing.